Good morning, good morning. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Deja, Jackie, whatever y'all call me. I hope everyone is having a wonderful morning. It's beautiful out here. The sun is out, bright. I'm looking at the lake. Lake is still, so we don't have no storms coming. The sky is nice and blue. So yeah, today will be a good day. Thank you, Jehovah, for giving us a beautiful day. Because it's definitely beautiful out here. So y'all know I gotta hit the streets. Today I wanted to talk about a little bit more connection with DMX. As I was coming up in the Bronx and in Harlem, I want to go back a little bit because I want to explain to a lot of you people that as foreigners to New York, all y'all may know is downtown, or you hear of the Bronx, you hear Harlem. There are 3 bridges, that connect the Bronx to Harlem, and those 3 bridges are about 2.5 blocks long. So majority of the people that's from Harlem maneuvered in the Bronx, and those that's from the Bronx maneuvered in Harlem, and that's just what it was. For those that keep saying, "Oh, well, what block is she claiming?" I'm not claiming any block. I lived in both towns, and that's just what it was. My mom, when she had me, I was living in the Bronx at 371. We moved to Prospect area with my grandma. Then we moved back to Harlem with my great-grandmother. When my little brother died, I moved back to the Bronx at 371. So for those that don't know and wanted to know, that's why I talk about Harlem and the Bronx. They're just that close, for those that don't know. We have the 161st Street Bridge that used to connect where Yankee Stadium is to the upper part of Manhattan, which is called the Washington Heights area, which we still look at as Harlem. Where that's Amsterdam Avenue, Broadway, St. Nicholas, all up in there. Then we have the 145th Street Bridge. And that connects you with pretty much the center. And then you go a little further down to, is that 141st Street? I believe it's 141st Street, which take you right across the bridge to like around Harlem Hospital and all of that. I've been connected with Harlem and the Bronx all my life, and we walk that bridge. People are walking that bridge right now, going back and forth from Harlem to the Bronx, and that's just what it is. But I want to go back a little bit. Today I want to talk about what connections I had to DMX. It was like so many connections, it was unreal. And this was one of the major ones here. And this was the first time I ever set eyes on DMX. I didn't even know who he was, and it was on Amsterdam Avenue and 156 or 157th, one of the two, but we were on Amsterdam. And he was with his friend, his good friend, Heem. And Heem was like, Raheem was like a father to me. Now you know the streets talk. When my little brother died, in Harlem, 147th Street. He died at the hospital, but all of the stuff happened on 147th Street between Broadway and Amsterdam. That whole area knew what went down, all through Harlem. Okay, because my mother was well known, my grandmother was well known, and we were on the front page of the paper. Okay, so everybody knew what happened. However, when I went to the Bronx and I came back, because I still used to come, even though the system took me out of my mother's home and put me with my family, I still was going back and forth because you got to remember, my mother lived there. My grandmother lived there. So they couldn't keep me away from there, okay, because my family was still there. So I would still go and visit and be around. Now, prior to, and I want to tell y'all this story. Matter of fact, I had to get one of my friends on Facebook to remember the pair of jeans that I used to wear every single day. They were called Sergio Valentes. Okay, my mother, as y'all know, she was, had some illnesses on drugs and different things like that. So she really wasn't buying me clothes and stuff. And I was pretty much a bum, even though some of my family members had money, they wasn't trying to help, because they felt like that was her child. If that's the way she wants to do her child, we have to respect it, So I was a bum, and my aunt, she came through one day, and she said, "You out here looking a mess." She said, "Your birthday is coming." She said, "I'm gonna get you something." So she said, "Well, what you want?" So I said, "I want some Sergio Valente jeans." She said, "Girl, them jeans is expensive." I said, "I know." She said, "Well, you can get about 3-4 pair of jeans for the price of them jeans." I said, "No, I want those, Auntie. I want those." And she was like, "Okay." So when my birthday came, she brought them Sergio Valentes. I was the happiest person ever. Now, I ain't have no other clothes but them Sergio Valentes. And I wore them to school, okay, every single day, okay? And after my little brother died, that's when I went to the Bronx. And my life lightened up a little bit because my aunt, she would buy me. My aunt stayed fly. That's just what she did. You know what I mean? She had everything and anything a woman could want, okay? From purses to clothes to shoes to perfume. She catered her life to staying fly. That's what she did. And she wanted to make sure when I step outside, I look the same way. So she had a nice leather suit, a couple of leather suits, but this particular one I just was in love with. And I told her, I said, "Auntie, I want one." And she said, "Do you?" I said, "Yeah, I want a pink one." Pink was always my color. And I said, "I want a pink one." So she bought me a pink leather suit. Okay, and I walked around with this pink leather suit. Back then, at that time, I didn't have to wear the same things over and over because she made sure I had a lot of clothes. But when I stepped out in this pink leather suit, people was like, "Oh my gosh, you got pink. This is hot." And meanwhile, of course, I got to go to Harlem, because Harlem is my home too. So, they got to see me in the pink leather suit. So, people see me starting to come back up, after this torment and pain that I went through in Harlem, so they saw me coming back up. Now, there was a lot of people that looked over me, even though I went through this. And this is the other thing I wanted to point out. The people in Harlem, they didn't cater to me, too much, and they did and they didn't in certain ways, okay? And the reason being is because they wanted to keep me feeling comfortable. Where a lot of the people in the Bronx, they knew what happened to me and my little brother, they would do this extra, I don't know what to call it, but they would be extra, okay, trying to pamper me because of what happened. which made me weak. It actually hurt me more because I had to deal with the fact of why you're not treating me like everybody else. Why I got to be singled out. Okay? And that was one of my downfalls mentally, because I wanted to be like everybody else, even though I was different, because of what had happened to me. So, when kids go through things, people, it can affect them for the rest of their lives, And this is why I try to keep a clean, stable home for my children so they won't have to deal with what I went through. Okay? But anyway, getting back to the story, he was one of those that was Bronx and Harlem as well. And he would see me in Harlem, especially when I met my daughter's father, my oldest daughter's father. And I was with him in his block all the time. And he watched me, and they knew who I was. Everybody knew who I was. I was on the front page of the Post. So they all watched me grow. But there was a few of them that took notice that I needed that fatherly guidance, okay? Because I didn't have that. And Raheem was one of those that did that for me. He had a wife, he had kids, but he took me up under his wing as if I was his daughter as well. So when I went places, I was protected because he was well known in Harlem and the Bronx. One, because of his pits. Two, because, that's who he was. He was a well-known guy. And he took me up under his wing. He was never the type of man to try to do anything to me. He loved and respected me like I was his child. And I'll never forget this day in Harlem. I was running around, me and my friends, and we went up to the block, and I went over there to him. I think he gave me some money or something, and he was standing there with DMX. And I was like, I didn't know who DMX was back then, because I was young. He was young too, but he was there with DMX. And he introduced me to him. And I believe DMX was in the game then, but I didn't know, I wasn't really into that. I was coming from dealing with my issues, and I just got a boyfriend. And matter of fact, I believe I was pregnant at the time, or I wasn't. I can't remember detail for detail, but he introduced me. And that was our formal introduction. And I was young. I was like 15 years old. 15. And what happened was, being that I was living in the Bronx and my aunt was giving me so much, I stayed fly, as we called it back in the day. I had all the new, and people was jealous of it. They was really jealous of it, and he knew that, and I had went, I had finally got in contact with my real dad, and I had told him that I had wanted a coat. And he said, okay, what kind of coat you want? I said, I want a sheepskin. And he said, okay. So he took me to buy the sheepskin. And y'all know what color I had got. Pink, because that's my favorite color. Well, it was my favorite color. Because now people are taking it out of proportion. It's making me actually hate it now. But pink was that color. Now, by this point, I'm in high school, and, I felt like I had to be the flyest thing walking through the hallway, you know what I mean? And that's just what it is. When we was young, and you come from, it's not that I came from nothing, because I did. I was taught the values of life, but my parents kept me so poor looking, and people looked down on me when I was able to get my life to where I can get that stuff. I went all out, you know what I mean? And that's just what it was. I wore the jewelry, I wore the clothes, the designers, whatever it was that was popping, Jackie had it, all the sneakers piled up, I had it, and I had gained this addiction for clothes and jewelry. And Raheem said to me, I'll never forget it. This is when I was in Clinton High School. I was walking through the path to go to the train. And I'm coming through with my pink sheepskin, and he was at the path, the end of the path. I don't know if he came up there for me or he was just up there, but he said, come here. He said, you got to be careful out here. You walking around with all this leather and sheepskins and it stands out. It's pink, all bright. He said, you somebody going to try to hurt you. And they already knew I got robbed for my V-bomber in Harlem. Okay, when I was down at, I forgot which street that was. It was on Amsterdam Avenue, though it happened. A Spanish kid. I was walking. It was hot, and I was walking with my V-bomber in my arm instead of having it on. And a Spanish kid ran past and snatched it out my hand. And I was with my baby father, so at the time, he wasn't my baby father. I wasn't pregnant by that point. But, of course, he took that information back to the block. And they held my V-bomber for months. I think I went a whole winter without that coat because they had to do whatever they needed to do with the kids. So they confiscated my coat. Anyway, that's when he came to me and he said, you don't need protection because you always got the fly stuff on. And these people, they be jealous of you. They going to take from you, And I'm like, for real? Because I was gullible. I was young. I ain't know, you know what I mean? I done walked around Harlem and the Bronx all this time. I ain't know nothing. So he said, listen. He said, I want you to join the 5% Nation with me. And I said, what is that? He said, well, he explained it to me. It was like kind of religious, He told me about the not eating pork thing, and told me about learning my studies and different things like that. So I agreed to it, and that's when I became a part of the 5% Nation. And I would go to Walton High School after Clinton. After I get out of school in Clinton, to do studies with other people and learn my alphabets. And a lot of the stuff I forgot, y'all. I did go, I want to go back to this. And he named me Queen Shaquana Asia, okay? And I had to study that, okay? When I gave birth to Shaquana, I gave her Shaquana. I wanted to give her the whole name. I wanted to give her Queen Shaquana Asia. However, her father didn't agree to that. So I had to be, courteous and let him have some input. But I gave my daughter the name Shaquana. And it was because of him. He named me, okay? And like when I tell y'all, he was like a father to me. He was like a father to me. Even when I didn't practice my stuff, even when I didn't go fully forward with the 5% Nation, he was still there like a father to me. He lived between Amsterdam and Broadway, in Washington Heights. And he would see me every day and, make sure I was okay. His wife as well. Anything that I needed, if I needed something to eat or, anybody that he knew on the block that I needed something from, he would handle it, like I had met a girl that did hair and I wanted my hair braided because she braided real nice. And I do hair as well, but it's hard doing your own hair. And, he told me, hey, make sure you fix her up, because I wanted my hair. I want my hair braided. I want her to do it. And he was like, I got you. And, he took care of that for me. And that's just one of little examples, you know what I mean? But he was like a father to me, and I will never forget him, of course, because my daughter's name is Shaquana. I would never forget the 5% Nation because of him, and I had meant to mention him in the podcast yesterday. However, it didn't come to mind at the time. But then I said, I need to talk about him. I don't want to, do a big old podcast based on him because I don't want people going seeking him out, even though I would love to see him. I haven't seen him in so many years. And I know he would be proud of me, right now, for the things that I have accomplished, being where I come from, and the things that I've been through, I know he would be proud of me. But the last time that I went to visit and I went to his wife's house and he wasn't there, unfortunately he was incarcerated and it hurt me so bad. And it was like, oh gosh, now who do I have, and that's how I kept feeling like the people that I needed in my life always disappeared, So that was a part of me, and I'm about to cry because I'll never forget that day I went to his house and she told me, and tears just came out of my eyes, and I just walked away. And he was like that person that I can go to, and it just hurt so much that he was gone. And it's not that he was dead, he was gone, and I didn't have that reach of him, for him to stand, well, what are you doing? Just, how fathers do their daughters, And he wasn't even old enough to be my father, but he took on that responsibility because he knew I didn't have it. And he knew that people would take advantage of me because I was young and gullible, And it was a few of them. Don't get me wrong, it was a few of them, y'all. I had about maybe 5 fathers in Harlem, okay? From, I would say, 159th Street in Amsterdam all the way down to 145th Street, okay? That was not allowing me to do too much of anything because they wanted me to win, When it comes to the Bronx, B.O. took over that job in the Bronx, until he lost his life, And people don't understand why, I talk about these people with such love, and they say, oh, a lot of them were gangsters, they was this, they was that. It doesn't matter. They didn't treat me like that, and they didn't want me to be like them. So they took the initiative and the time to give me that love and to give me that training that I needed to keep going. Because what happened to me in my life, when you look at the average people in the world or in the United States, wherever, that's been through what I've been through, majority of the time they grow up with mental issues. They grow up on drugs, or they repeat the same pattern, what happened to them on their family, okay? And I beat that with their help. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Y'all might not understand why I'm the person I am today, but they understand. And some of them have passed away. I've heard recently some of them has passed away, and I hope God had some type of love for them, even just for the things that they've done for me. You know what I mean? Y'all would never understand my walk and what I've been through, okay? And I've been through hell and back, okay, from a child, okay? Growing up in a family with major addictions, not paying attention, not loving themselves enough to say, hey, no, I don't want to do this. And I am the curse breaker, okay? I broke the curse of being a hard drug user, okay? And my son is following behind me, okay? My daughter, unfortunately, it didn't pass her by. She grabbed a hold of that, even her son, her son is not into hard drugs, because I used to smoke weed when I was a child as well, I used to smoke blunts. I never had to pay for it. They gave me whatever I wanted, but they never let me use hard drugs. Anytime I inquired about it, they told me no. Okay? And I'm thankful to this day that they told me no, because I sit here today at age 50, okay, with no hard drug addiction, no alcohol addiction. So I am thankful, okay, because those addictions taught my family, okay. Death was in my family because of these addictions. My little brother lost his life because of these addictions. You know, so for me to break that curse, it's a big thing, you know. Now, a lot of people, you know, like, and I'm gonna say this, a lot of people say, okay, well, who is she? Who's Miss JJ? Who's Deja? You know, y'all all heard the name. Y'all just never saw the face. Because I'm very popular when it comes to Harlem and when it comes to the Bronx. Very popular. Just because y'all don't see them liking my posts on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever the case may be, don't mean that these people don't know me. And this is how and why DMX was okay with me using his beat to make a song, because of who I am. Because he met me in the past. My whole circle, you know, and it's funny because I got married to Mark Richardson. I hold Mark Richardson's name. That's my ex-husband. And it's funny, because I don't know if he knows this or not, or if he knows Mark. He might. But I'll never forget when Mark said, I'm going up here to be with such and such and such. And it was a female's name. And I said, well, who in the hell is she? He said, oh, DMX sister. That's like one of my closest friends. I said, for real? And he said, yeah. And I was like, damn, here it is DMX again. You know, and it was like my whole circle was surrounded by DMX and his people, you know, and the Rough Riders, you know. And it was crazy because they ruled the Bronx. They ruled the Bronx, you know. And I didn't realize that until recently, you know, within the last, I would say maybe a few months ago, you know, just sitting back thinking. They ruled the Bronx, all of them. All the way from Yonkers to Harlem. You know, and that's just what it was. You know, and when I sit back and I look at DMX old shows and stuff, and I say, God, look how many people be at his shows. I was like, oh my God, that is big, you know. And it took them as a team, unity, to make it that big, you know. And it didn't take them long. You know, I told y'all, DMX pulled up to my house in Buffalo. So not only did he rule the Bronx, he had the whole New York State, because he was coming through there. Okay? This is what we did, and this is how people learned about hip-hop, because we always went to different areas, met people, got big in those areas. So when people don't understand, how is Miss JJ getting these sales, and she's not even on the radio, or she's not even popping on the internet? Because my fan base is real. Okay, not internet based. Because I've been through all of these states, these cities. And when the people remember, they say, oh, that's Jackie, or that's Deja. That's Miss JJ. I know her. I remember her. They're going to listen. Whether they like it or not, they're going to listen. But a lot of them like it, because I see they keep listening and listening and listening. And I love y'all for it. You know, all the work that I put in, being the humble person that I am, you know, all my life. You know, because some people have painted real bad pictures of me because of the people that I dealt with. And I get it. You know what they say, that it was that birds of a feather flock together. Birds of a feather flock together only if that's their motive. But if their motive is to seek peace, even though they out doing reckless stuff, don't mean that everybody in that flock is bad. Okay? And that's what people need to see. You know, I was one that would be around, then I'll disappear. Because everything that I learned from the streets and they taught me, I would take it in consideration, put it in my mind, and continue to do what I needed to do to make something happen for my life. And that's why I thank God for the streets. Because they taught me what I needed to know to stay alive. Okay? And I tell people all the time, I've been trained well. Okay, so when you come at me, you coming at a beast, because I was trained by some of the best. You know what I mean? And yes, I can be a beast, but that's not my character. But sometimes you have to turn into that beast for people to respect you. You understand? So I'm a very humble, quiet type of female. They used to call me a nerd back in the day, you know, because I was this smart little girl that should have been somebody's doctor, you know. However, I took the other route and it didn't happen, but I still became successful, you know, financially. And I have to look up to God for that, you know, for carrying me through, and with all the other knowledge that I knew as well. And those that he put in my journey to keep me straight. You know, not everybody has that. Not everybody has those fathers on the block that's going to pick them up and say, hey, you need this, or you need this kind of guidance. You need protection. You need this. Not everybody had that. But when you come from an area like Harlem, and you're loved, they're going to protect you. Especially when you're not a bad person. You know? And that's where all my love comes from, people. From my father figures, from my mother figures that was out there when I didn't have no mother and father. They carried me. They taught me. And that's why I'm the person I am today. If it was one person listening right now, and I love her to death, she was one of my mothers as well. She keep a sock bag, and so do I. That's my remembrance of her in my life. Having a sock bag, because if I needed socks, and I always hated socks. Y'all know I don't even wear socks now. And she said, put some socks on. And I said, I ain't got no socks. And she said, well, go in the sock bag and get you some socks. And when I grew up and had my own houses, I always had a sock bag. Because I felt like that was pretty cool to have a sock bag where you can go and pull out all the socks and look for your pairs of socks that you're going to wear for the day. Okay, shout out to her. I love her so much. She's a private person, so I'm not going to mention her name. But she is from Harlem. And she's still alive. And I'm going to always love her. She's always been there for me. But these are the people that was there, that took that love for me, you know. And I do the same in return for the kids of today. You know, people say, oh, she always with the kids and she was telling the kids this and telling the kids that. Yeah, because if their parents haven't told them or taught them the way things should be, I'm going to tell them. And if their parents don't like it, oh well. Because some of these parents out here today, they don't give a damn about their own lives, let alone their children's lives. And I've been through some things. Okay, so it's not like I ain't been through nothing. I've been through some major torment. And never want to see a child go through torment like I've been through torment. You know? So, you know, I'm shouting out. Him, of course, I love you. If you're out there, I would love to see you. You know, DMX, if you know where he is, just have him call me. You know, one time to just hear his voice again. would be a beautiful thing, because like I said, he was there, for me through a lot of stuff, and a lot of people didn't know it. DMX knew it. I guess DMX people might have knew it, but I didn't know that they knew it, that me and him had this bond. I would love to see his kids now that they're grown, because I know that they're all grown and off on their own, But Harlem took care of me, and I could never disown Harlem, never. They took care of me. When I would come, Shaquana had a little Barbie Corvette back in the day. And I would charge that Barbie Corvette. And I would my friends would say, where you going? I said, I'm going to Harlem. They said, that thing ain't going to last all the way to Harlem. I said, we'll be all right. And she would drive her little Barbie Corvette. We'll go through the 145th Street Bridge. We get over there. And they were so happy to see us. And they sent us home in a taxi. I didn't have to worry about it. I would never stop loving my Harlem family. So when y'all come to that you got to choose nonsense, I'm not choosing nothing. Because Harlem and the Bronx is only disconnected through water. So y'all could go ahead with that nonsense when y'all talk about that in the industry. These newer people, these newer people that's coming up, and they supposed to be top notch rappers or pop artists or whatever they are, talking their nonsense. Well, I'm letting you know, there's nothing that doesn't connect the Bronx from Harlem but water. We're all in this together. And we've always been in this together. Okay, the whole New York. Wu-Tang was from Staten Island, but yet and still they came to Harlem to do their videos. They came to Harlem to help me have a sellout show. So when you start talking about New York, know your facts about us New Yorkers. So that's another thing people, they love about me, is because I'm not afraid to tell people the facts and shut them down when they're running their mouth and don't know stuff. Okay? They can put out all the lies in the world, but I'm going to tell you the facts. So, I just wanted to put that out there. And the person that I'm talking to, they know who they are. We are one, us New Yorkers. That's just what it is. I don't care where we go. We're still one. We're in this together. That's where hip-hop started. So, that's just the story of the day. I just wanted to put y'all onto that. What make people think that my home wouldn't support me on building a music label? What make y'all think that? That makes y'all stupid. And any other lies that y'all have heard on the ground. That makes y'all idiots for even thinking that. As popular as I was in New York City, what would make y'all think that my home would not help me build a music label? So, yeah. I just wanted to get to the bottom of that. Like I said, I don't know about the liars or the stuff that they put out there. Okay? But a lot of my people are still alive. I talk to them on Facebook. I call them on the phone. They don't see my posts because Facebook is on some crap. So I try to stay off of it as much as I can, but I go on there to see how my people doing. Internet is our worst. It's demons. I'm going to be honest with you. The internet is nothing but demons. Okay? We got to go back to the basics. And that's just what it is, But tomorrow, I'm going to talk about all my pets. They're bringing up the pets online. Today is National Dog Day. And I had a lot of pets, y'all. We had iguanas. We ain't never had no birds. We had iguanas, dogs, a lot of dogs. Turtle. We had cats. I'm gonna tell y'all about Bootsy and his character. Smokey. Y'all got to learn about Smokey. We had a lot of cats. A cat was bringing cats to me. Okay, so yeah, a lot of people are not surprised that I'm down here in the South and I want a big house because they know I love pets. You know, I love animals. My kids love animals, and that's how we were brought up. You know, I'm tell y'all about Boogaloo. You know, my people from 153rd, everybody know about Boogaloo if they came in my house. So tomorrow I'm gonna be talking about all the pets and their attitudes, okay? Because they all had character, okay? And that's gonna be tomorrow's podcast. I just thought I'd, talk about it because I had my pet, I had 2 Rottweilers, I had a Rat Terrier. The Rat Terrier was the last one, and we had Neji. Neji was miniature Doberman. Those were the last 2 that was in my life, and they were very expensive. And when I got broke, I had to let them go because I just couldn't do it no more. But we'll talk about all of that tomorrow. And I thank y'all for listening. All of those that listen and download my podcast, I thank you all. Y'all have been wonderful to me throughout this duration of me coming into the music side of the industry. I love you all, and that's just all I can say, and I thank God for keeping y'all here to help support me through this, and I pray for each and every one of y'all every single day. Anybody can tell y'all that I get in my car before I leave, I pray every day. And when I pray, I always include my friends. So, yeah, you do have somebody praying for you if nobody else is praying for you. So just remember that. And I love each and every one of y'all. This is the conclusion of this podcast. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Deja, Jackie, whatever y'all call me. And I love y'all all.